This is the story of how Drew Brees went from Purdue legend to Chargers castoff to the savior of New Orleans. From 3-13 to Super Bowl champs, from damaged goods to the guy who never missed. But here's the thing, he almost never made it to New Orleans. One phone call in Miami, one failed physical, and the entire story changes. We'll get into that. The underdog years, Purdue and the Chargers gamble. Drew Brees grew up in Austin, Texas, dreaming of playing for the Longhorns. State champion quarterback, insane high school stats, and Texas didn't want him. Too short, not athletic enough. The same story every college recruiter told him. He got 2 scholarship offers, Kentucky and Purdue. That's it. He chose Purdue because Joe Tiller was installing his wild spread offense they called basketball on grass, and Tiller looked him in the eye and said, "You're my guy." By his senior year, Brees had shattered every Big Ten passing record in the books. 11,792 yards, 90 touchdowns, about 61% completions, third in Heisman voting. And the NFL scouts still didn't believe. At the combine, he measured exactly 6 feet tall. 40 time was fine. Vertical was decent, nothing special. And while Michael Vick was going first overall with all the hype in the world, Brees sat there waiting. First round came and went. The Chargers finally took him with the 32nd pick, the first pick of the second round. San Diego had just traded down from number 1, grabbed LaDainian Tomlinson at 5, and figured they'd take a flyer on the Purdue kid. Doug Flutie was the starter. Brees was the project. But by 2004, something clicked. Head coach Marty Schottenheimer and the staff gave him the keys, and Brees took off. 27 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, 12-4 record, comeback player of the year. The Chargers won their first division title in a decade, and it looked like San Diego had finally found their franchise guy. Then the front office did what front offices do when they panic. They drafted Phillip Rivers in the top 5 in 2004, even though Brees was balling out. Classic hedge bet, and Brees knew exactly what that meant. So here's the question. How do you respond when the team you just saved spends a top 5 pick on your replacement? Most guys fold. Drew Brees? He put together a season so dominant it forced the NFL to rewrite what elite quarterback play looks like. We'll get there. December 31st, 2005. Final game of the regular season against Denver. Brees dove for a fumble near the goal line. John Lynch hit him. Gerard Warren landed on top of him. His throwing shoulder dislocated. The labrum tore 360 degrees around the socket. Rotator cuff shredded. Dr. James Andrews opened him up and saw a disaster. The prognosis was brutal. 25% chance to play again. Maybe. The Chargers lowballed him with an incentive-heavy contract that basically screamed, "We don't trust you anymore." Rivers was their guy now. Brees hit free agency with a destroyed shoulder and a chip on his shoulder even bigger. Miami was interested. Nick Saban wanted him, but the Dolphins' doctors examined that shoulder and shut it down. Too risky. Failed physical. Miami walked away. Saban left for Alabama a year later, probably still thinking about that call his medical staff made. That left one team, the New Orleans Saints. Coming off 3-13, Hurricane Katrina had just ripped through the city. The Superdome was still being rebuilt, and they offered Brees 6 years, $60 million, with $10 million guaranteed. Here's the thing about that Saints roster. It wasn't just Brees looking for a second chance. The whole team was built on guys nobody else wanted. Marquise Colston, undrafted receiver. Reggie Bush, the flashy number 2 overall pick who was still figuring out his ideal NFL role. Pierre Thomas, undrafted running back. Even Sean Payton was a first-time head coach taking over a disaster. A broken quarterback in a broken city, surrounded by castaways and misfits. Perfect match. The rebirth, New Orleans, and the Super Bowl run. 2006, first season in New Orleans. The city was still cleaning up debris. The Superdome had a massive hole in the roof from Katrina. People were scattered across the country, and here comes Drew Brees with his surgically repaired shoulder, trying to prove he can still play. First game back in the Superdome, Monday Night Football against the Falcons. The place was shaking. Brees threw for just under 200 yards, but the Saints rolled 23-3 in a game remembered for the blocked punt that shook the building. The entire city exhaled. He led the NFL in passing yards that season, 4,418. Took the Saints from 3-13 to 10-6 in their first playoff appearance in years. In the divisional round, they beat the Eagles. Then they ran into the Chicago Bears in the NFC Championship. Frozen field. Dominant defense. The Saints got smoked 39-14, but the message was clear. Drew Brees was back, and New Orleans had something to build on. Then came the frustration years. 2007, Saints go 7-9. Brees throws for over 4,400 yards, breaks the NFL record for completions in a season, and it doesn't matter because the defense can't stop anybody. 2008, same story. He throws for 5,069 yards, becomes only the second quarterback ever to break 5,000, and they finish 8-8 again. You could see the pattern forming. Brees was putting up video game numbers, but the team kept falling short. The questions started creeping in. Is he a stat patter? Can he win the big one? 2009 answered all of that. But here's what nobody talks about. The biggest game of Drew Brees' life wouldn't be won by his arm. It would be won by a decision so risky, so borderline insane, that it could have ended Sean Payton's career on the spot. We're talking about a call that Vegas would have laughed at, and it worked. And we'll break down exactly how they pulled it off. Saints came out on fire. Week 1, Brees threw 6 touchdowns against Detroit. Week 2, 3 more against Philly. By midseason, they were 8-0 and rolling. Then came the Monday night game against the Patriots in the Superdome. Undefeated Saints versus Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Brees carved them up. 371 yards, 5 touchdowns, perfect passer rating, 38-17 final. The Saints were 13-0 before they finally lost their last 3 regular season games, but by then they'd already locked up the number 1 seed. Playoffs, divisional round, they crushed Arizona 45-14. NFC Championship against Brett Favre and the Vikings. That game was a war. Back and forth all night. Late in the 4th, Vikings had a chance to kick a field goal and win it. Favre threw across his body. Tracy Porter picked it off. Overtime. Saints drove down, kicked a field goal. They were going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 44. New Orleans Saints versus Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. The narrative was perfect. Manning, the polished veteran with the perfect mechanics. Brees, the undersized overachiever who defied every odd. First half, Colts jumped out 10-6. Then Sean Payton called the most aggressive play in Super Bowl history. Onside kick to start the second half. Saints recovered it. Momentum flipped instantly. Brees took over. He completed 32 of 39 passes, tying the Super Bowl record. 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. Late in the 4th, he hit Jeremy Shockey for the go-ahead score. Then Tracy Porter picked off Manning and took it back for a touchdown. Saints 31, Colts 17. Drew Brees stood on the field holding his baby son Balin, who was wearing noise-canceling headphones because the Superdome was losing its mind. Confetti everywhere, Lombardi trophy in one hand, kid in the other. New Orleans wasn't just celebrating a football game, they were celebrating survival, rebirth, proof that broken things can be put back together stronger than before. The accuracy machine, records, evolution, and legacy. Winning the Super Bowl was the dream. What came next was the grind of staying elite for over a decade. 2011, Brees went nuclear. He threw for 5,476 yards, breaking Dan Marino's 27-year-old single-season passing record, 46 touchdowns, 71.2% completion percentage, which was an NFL record at the time. The Saints went 13-3 again, rolled through the playoffs, and then they ran into the 49ers in the divisional round. That game still haunts Saints fans. Back and forth all night. Brees threw for nearly 500 yards. With under 2 minutes left, the Saints were driving for the win. Then Vernon Davis caught a touchdown with 9 seconds left. Game over. One of the best quarterback seasons ever, and it ended with a heartbreaking loss. But here's where Brees separated himself from everyone else. He didn't just throw for volume, he mastered precision. The formula was simple but impossible to replicate. The ball was out in 2.3 seconds on average, faster than defenses could rotate coverage. He threw anticipation routes where the ball left his hand before the receiver even made his break, reading the soft spot in coverage pre-snap. And the ball placement was surgical, hitting receivers exactly where only they could catch it. Let's break down the signature throw, the slant flap concept. Brees would read the linebacker's depth pre-snap. If the linebacker dropped to cover the flat, the slant was open. If the linebacker stayed shallow, the flat was there. Simple read, but Brees made it in a half a second, and the ball was placed on the receiver's inside shoulder, away from the defender, every single time. Or the back shoulder fade. Most quarterbacks throw it and hope. Brees threw it with timing. The receiver would sell the vertical route, the corner would turn and run, and Brees would drop the ball over the receiver's back shoulder before the corner could react. Unstoppable if you get the right timing. And Brees got it right more than anyone. Career stats that define precision. 80,358 passing yards, second behind Tom Brady. 571 touchdowns, second behind Tom Brady. And here's the kicker. He broke Johnny Unitas' legendary record of 47 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, stretching it all the way to 54 games. A record that stood for over 50 years, and Brees shattered it. When it comes to pure accuracy and consistency, nobody's ever done it better. The critics had their talking points. Too many short throws, padding stats, system quarterback. And look, there's some truth there. Brees wasn't slinging it 60 yards downfield like Brett Favre. He wasn't scrambling around making off-platform throws like Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't throwing no-look passes like Patrick Mahomes. But go watch the film. The timing on those short throws is elite. The ball placement on slants and outs is perfect. The decision-making pre-snap is what separates good from great. Brees didn't need the highlight reel throws because he never put himself in situations where he had to make them. He holds 4 of the top 7 single-season completion percentages in NFL history. 4. That's no fluke. That's a standard. He led the NFL in completion percentage 6 times, more than anyone in history. Sammy Baugh and Len Dawson each did it 5 times. Brees, 6. But while Brees was setting all these records, he was hiding something, a physical reality that was getting worse with every throw. By the time he retired, the cost of all that precision would leave him unable to do the most basic thing a father does with his kids. We'll get to that. The legacy question, precision versus flash. Here's where the debate gets interesting. Drew Brees versus the other all-time greats. Tom Brady has the rings, 7 of them, the longevity, the clutch gene, the ability to win in any system. But Brady's career completion percentage is 64.3. Brees is at 67.7. That's a massive gap when you're talking about 10,000 attempts. Aaron Rodgers has the arm talent, the off-platform throws, the ability to extend plays, the deep ball accuracy. But Rodgers' decision-making can get him in trouble. Brees never tried to do too much. He took what the defense gave him, every single time. Patrick Mahomes has the creativity, the no-look passes, the sidearm throws, the ability to make every throw on the field. But Mahomes plays in an era with more favorable rules and a system built around his strengths. Brees built the system. The knock on Brees is always the same. 1 ring. And that's fair. Brady has 7. Manning has 2. Mahomes already has 3. But here's the counter. Brees played for one of the worst defenses in NFL history for most of his career. The Saints gave up 24-plus points per game in 7 of his seasons. You can't win Super Bowls when your defense is bleeding points. The other knock, too many short throws, system quarterback, stat patter. And look, there's some truth there. So where does he rank? Top 5 all time? Top 10? That's for you to decide. But when it comes to pure accuracy, no one's ever done it better. The twilight years were a mix of brilliance and decline. 2017, he set a new completion percentage record at 72%. The arm was still there. The timing was perfect. The Saints went 11-5 and made the playoffs. Then 2018, the peak. He broke his own record again. 74.4% completion. That's the NFL record, and it still stands. 115.7 passer rating, career high. He was 39 years old and playing the best football of his life. But the body was breaking down. 2019, he missed 5 games with a thumb injury on his throwing hand. Still posted over 74% completions when he played, but the durability was gone. 2020, the end. Broken ribs and a collapsed lung in week 10. He missed 4 games, came back, and the arm strength was clearly gone. Passes that used to zip now floated. Deep balls that used to drop in perfect now hung up. His final playoff game was against Tom Brady and the Bucs in the divisional round. 3 interceptions, 20-30 final. The ending nobody wanted, but everyone saw coming. He retired after the 2020 season with 1 Super Bowl ring. Only 1. And that's the thing that keeps him out of the Brady Manning Mahomes tier for a lot of people. But here's the legacy. The most accurate passer ever. The guy who proved size doesn't matter if you've got the precision and the heart. The guy who changed what a franchise quarterback could look like. The guy who saved a city. The physical cost was real. His shoulder is degenerative now. Arthritic changes so severe he can't really throw a football with his right arm anymore. When he plays catch with his kids now, he has to throw left-handed. That's what 20 years of surgical precision does to a body. Drew Brees proved that size doesn't matter if you've got the accuracy and the heart. He didn't have the cannon arm or the highlight reel scrambles, but he had something better, consistency that defenses couldn't solve. The irony is brutal. The thing that made him great, surgical precision, is the same thing that makes people forget him in GOAT debates. No flash, just completion after completion after completion. So here's the question. Is Drew Brees the most underrated quarterback of all time? Drop a comment. Let's argue about it. If you want more stories from the gridiron where the tape doesn't lie, hype this video and hit that subscribe button. We're breaking down the legends every week.